It was a hot Friday afternoon. The sun was high, and the parking lot outside Brookside Grocery was full. People were coming and going, pushing carts, unloading groceries, kids running beside them. Among them was Zara Thomas, a quiet woman in her early 30s. Dressed in a simple black blouse and jeans, she had just finished shopping. Her car, a dark gray SUV, was parked near the entrance. She wasn't rushing, she never did. Zara placed her last bag in the trunk, closed it gently, and walked around to get in the driver's seat, and then it began. "Excuse me, Mom." A loud voice broke through the warm afternoon air. "Excuse me, ma'am, step away from the vehicle." Zara turned slowly. A white police officer in sunglasses, broad-shouldered and sharp-eyed, walked toward her. His name tag read, "Officer Dale." "Is something wrong, officer?" Zara asked, her voice calm. "We got a call about suspicious activity in this lot," he said. "You fit the description." Zara blinked. "I was just loading groceries." The bystanders, people nearby, began to notice the scene. A few slowed their steps. One or two pulled out phones. Zara stood still, her hands visible, voice steady. "What exactly is suspicious about loading groceries into a car?" she asked. "License plate doesn't match the report," Dale said quickly. "And you looked like you were trying to break into the vehicle." Zara looked back at her own car, the keys still in her hand. "It's my car. I'll need to see ID," Dale said, stepping closer. "Hands where I can see them." The Luxara slowly opened her purse and handed over her driver's license. Dale looked at it, then at her, then at the car. He laughed under his breath. "Harvard grad, huh?" he said, reading her license. "Figures." Zara tilted her head. "Excuse me." "Nothing," he said. "Just didn't expect someone like you in this neighborhood. That's all." The air changed. People around them were now filming Zara's words. Zara took a deep breath. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't lose control. "You've just made the biggest mistake of your career," she said softly. Dale smirked. "Is that a threat?" "No," she replied. "That's a promise." A man steps in. One of the shoppers, a tall man in a green hoodie, walked closer. "Hey, officer," he said. "You do know you're being recorded, right?" Dale snapped. "Step back. This doesn't concern you." "Sure it does," the man said. "That's my neighbor. She's a good woman. You're harassing her." Dale's jaw tightened. "Stay out of it." But the damage was already done now, for people were filming, two of them streaming live. "Is this how you treat all black women?" one voice from behind the camera shouted. "Is this how you treat all black women?" Zara didn't turn. She stood still, her eyes fixed on the officer. She didn't need to say more. Her silence said enough. Officer Dale finally handed back her ID. "You can go," he muttered. Zara looked at him one last time. "You're going to remember this moment," she said quietly, and then she got into her car and drove away, calm, straight, and proud. The video by sunset. The video had already been uploaded. A 2-minute clip titled, "Cop Harasses Calm Black Woman in Parking Lot, Watch Her Last Line by Midnight." It had over 1 million views. People flooded the comments. "She handled it like a queen. That cop needs to be fired. What did she mean by you made the biggest mistake? Who is she?" The next morning, Officer Dale sat at his desk the next day, scrolling through his phone. His face was pale. His inbox was full. His phone hadn't stopped buzzing since 5 a.m. "I didn't even arrest her," he said out loud. "Why is this blowing up?" His chief walked in holding a tablet. "You better hope you didn't mess with the wrong person," Dale the chief said. "Because everyone's asking the same question." He showed him the screen, a comment with over 50,000 likes. "If y'all knew who that woman really was, you'd understand why this cop's career is over." The sun had barely risen when phones across the country buzzed with the same video. A 2-minute clip, a black woman, a white police officer. A simple parking lot turned into a symbol of injustice. The internet watches by 7 a.m. The clip had crossed 2 million views. By 9 a.m., it was on every major platform: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. The comments were on fire. Why did he stop her? She stayed calm the whole time. This is the world we live in. What did she mean by you made the biggest mistake? Does anyone know who she is? Officer Dale under fire inside the police stationed. Officer Dale sat in the break room, his coffee untouched. His phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Emails, missed calls, social media tags. He turned to his partner. "I didn't even arrest her. I just checked her ID." "But you laughed at her ID," his partner said, "and someone filmed it." "That's all it takes." She said, "I made the biggest mistake of my career." The partner looked at him. "Maybe you did." The department reacts by lunchtime. The police department released a short public statement. "We are aware of the video involving one of our officers and a community member. We are reviewing the incident." But that didn't stop the storm. Protesters stood outside the station. By 3 p.m., news vans lined the sidewalk. Activists demanded action. And still, the woman in the video remained silent. Who is she? People online became obsessed with finding her name. They zoomed in on her ID in the video. They enhanced the footage. They searched for anyone who might know her. Then, a major breakthrough. A Twitter user posted this: "I went to law school with her. If that's who I think it is, that cop is done." The tweet went viral within minutes. A legal team appears at 5:30 p.m. A verified law firm account tweeted, "We represent the woman in the viral parking lot video. Her name is Zara Thomas. She is safe. She has chosen not to speak. For now." Then came the second tweet, "But make no mistake, the world will know who she is and what she stands for." Newsrooms go crazy. Every major network picked it up. Who is Zara Thomas? The woman behind the viral parking lot video, Harvard Law, civil rights. The story unfolds. Zara's name was now everywhere, but Zara herself? Still silent. Officer Dale suspended late that night. Officer Dale received a call from the chief. "You've been placed on temporary leave." "But no buts," the chief said. "We're trying to keep this department from exploding." Dale hung up, shaking. "Who is this woman?" he whispered. He opened his laptop, typed in her name, and hit enter. The first article said, Zara Thomas, civil rights attorney, Harvard Law graduate, community activist. The second, she once sued the state and won. The third, she sits on the Justice Reform Advisory Board. Dale leaned back in his chair, stunned. Oh no. Meanwhile, Zara waits in her quiet apartment. Zara sat on the floor in a plain t-shirt, sipping tea. The news played softly on TV, but she wasn't watching it. She was focused, writing in a notebook. Her assistant walked in. "The world's waiting on you," she said. Zara didn't look up. "Let them wait. We speak when it matters most. Not when they're loudest, but when they're listening." Emily calls Zara's younger sister. "Emily?" Called that evening. "Z, you okay?" "I'm fine," Zara said. "Are you gonna tell them?" "I'll tell them the truth," Zara replied. "But I won't just talk. I'm going to teach." "Teach who?" Zara looked out the window. "Everyone." The morning after Zara's name was revealed, everything changed. News outlets began talking less about what happened, and more about who did it. Not just Zara, but Officer Dale. And the world was ready to look deeper. Digging begins by noon. A news reporter named Jasmine Lee posted a thread on Twitter. "Let's talk about Officer Dale. Not just what he did in that parking lot, but what he's done before." What followed was a list of past incidents. None had gone viral. None had been punished. But together, they painted a dark picture. The first complaint in 2019, a black teenager claimed Dale stopped him for looking nervous. The boy was walking home from school. No ticket, no charges, just fear. The case was filed but ignored. "The teen's mother wrote, 'My son,' said the officer told him, 'you don't belong in this part of town.'" The second complaint in 2020, a Latina woman said Dale pulled her over and searched her car for no reason. She worked as a nurse. She was driving home after a 12-hour shift. Nothing was found, but her complaint was quietly closed, marked not enough evidence. The third complaint in 2021, an old man filed a written complaint saying Dale was aggressive and disrespectful. During a noise check, don't know body cam footage, no action taken. "He made me feel like a criminal in my own home," the man wrote. The pattern was clear. Most of Dale's targets were people of color. He never faced consequences, and every complaint was brushed aside. People online were furious. Hashtags began trending. Hashtag justice for Zara. Hashtag fire Dale. Hashtag how many. Before Zara, the ex-officer speaks that evening, a former officer named Martin Wade agreed to speak on live TV. He had worked with Dale years ago. His interview shocked everyone. "I knew he had a problem with control," Martin said. "But it wasn't just power, it was who he used it on. He treated white people like citizens, but people of color like suspects. He had a nickname in the department. People called him Badge Bully." The department responds. The police department held a press conference. The chief, looking tired and tense, said, "We are opening a full internal investigation into Officer Dale's conduct." A reporter asked, "Why now? Why not when the first complaints came?" The chief paused. "We should have acted sooner. We failed, and we will now face that truth." Zara watches at home. Zara sat watching the press conference on her phone. She didn't look happy. She didn't look proud. She just looked sad. Her assistant asked, "You okay?" Zara shook her head. "They didn't care when the victims were poor. They care now because I have a name. But the system was broken long before I walked into that parking lot." A call from the mayor later that night. Zara's phone rang. It was the mayor's office. "Miss Thomas," the voice said, "we want to apologize, and we want to meet." Zara replied without hesitation, "I don't want a meeting. I want a microphone. I'll say what needs to be said, and I'll say it in public." Dale breaks his silence at the same time. Officer Dale posted a short message online. It said, "I'm not a racist. I've served this city with honor for 12 years. This is being blown out of proportion." The comments under his post were brutal. "You had a chance to listen. You chose to laugh. Tell that to the kid in 2019. Your time's up." Alone in the mirror later, Dale stood in front of his bathroom mirror. He stared at his reflection. The uniform he once wore proudly now hung in his closet, untouched. He had never felt this alone before. He thought of Zara's face, calm, firm, unshaken. He thought of what she said, You've just made the biggest mistake of your career. Maybe she was right. The sun was bright, but the air felt heavy. It was just before 11 a.m., and people were already gathering outside the Community Justice Center. Reporters, activists, cameras, curious citizens. The same woman who stood calm in a parking lot while a cop embarrassed her was about to speak for the first time. The press conference at exactly 11 a.m. The doors opened, and Zara Thomas stepped outside. No guards, no fancy stage. Just a wooden podium and a quiet crowd. She wore a simple white blouse and black slacks. No makeup, no jewelry, just truth. The crowd went silent as she looked around. She began, "My name is Zara Thomas. I am a daughter. I am a lawyer. I am a fighter for justice. But last week, I was just a woman loading groceries." Her story begins. Zara looked down at a paper in her hand, then slowly folded it and set it aside. "I don't need notes. I've lived this story my whole life." She told them about her childhood, about growing up in the South, where her father had to teach her how to act around police before she learned how to drive. About the first time she was followed in a store, about the second, about the 100th, being called angry when she simply asked for fairness, and then about becoming a lawyer, her accomplishments. "Yes, I went to Harvard Law. Yes, I've worked with national justice boards. Yes, I've helped change policies in cities across this country." But none of that mattered to Officer Dale. To him, I was just a threat. Her voice didn't shake, it didn't scream. It told the truth and made the world listen. Her calm message, that parking lot moment, wasn't new. It was just finally seen. There are thousands of black women like me, who walk straight, speak soft, obey every rule, and still we are seen as less. Zara paused. "So today, I'm not here for me. I'm here for them." Her looked straight at the cameras. "I am filing a civil rights lawsuit not just against Officer Dale, but against the department that let him do this again and again. And I'm asking for one thing more important than money. Mandatory racial bias training for all city officers, reviewed by a board of citizens, not cops." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Officer Dale's reaction at home. Dale watched everything on his TV. He was sitting on the edge of his couch, hands shaking. He heard her words. He saw the crowd cheering. He felt the weight of everything he ignored for years coming down at once. He whispered, "She's not just some woman. She's the whole damn truth." The world reacts within 1 hour. Her speech was the #1 trending video on YouTube. News stations replayed her words every 10 minutes. People shared her quotes like wildfire. "You can shame my skin, but not my strength. I was just a woman loading groceries. We are seen as less, but we are not." Letters pour in by evening. Zara's office had received over 4,000 emails. Messages from mothers who cried while watching, teen girls who said she gave them courage, retired officers who apologized. One letter said, "I used to think racism was only in the South, but I saw it in that video. Thank you for showing the world." Emily's pride, Zara's younger sister. Emily called that night. Her voice was full of tears. "Z, you did it. You spoke for all of us." Zara smiled softly. "It's just the beginning." It was early morning when the news broke. On the front page of every newspaper, every website, every TV screen, Zara Thomas officially sues Officer Dale and City Police Department. No turning back now. The lawsuit. Zara's legal team filed a civil rights lawsuit. The 42-page document listed Officer Dale's public harassment, his pattern of racial behavior, the ignored complaints from past victims, the department's failure to act. But the last page was what shocked everyone. It said, "This lawsuit is not about revenge. It is about reform and the cost of silence." The court responds within days. A judge accepted the case. A court date was set, and the trial would be public, open for anyone to attend. Live streamed online, full transparency. It wasn't just a case anymore. It was history. The city reacts at the mayor's office. Things were tense. The media asked one question again and again. Why did the city ignore the complaints? City lawyers avoided answers. The mayor gave a short statement. "We respect Miss Thomas. We will cooperate with the court." But behind closed doors, everyone was scared. This wasn't just about one officer. It was about the whole system. Officer Dale on camera. Officer Dale was invited to a TV interview. He sat stiffly in a suit. No badge now. The host asked, "Do you regret your actions?" He paused. "I didn't know who she was." The host replied, "So if she wasn't a lawyer, you would have treated her the same." Silence. Dale shifted in his seat. "I was doing my job." But everyone could see his words were weak. His confidence was gone. Zara builds her case. Meanwhile, Zara and her legal team prepared. They gathered body cam footage, past reports, witness statements, and the secret complaint list given to her one night. Her assistant asked, "Do you think we can really win this?" Zara didn't hesitate. "We already did the moment we exposed the truth. Now, we finish the job." A surprise witness 3 days before the trial. Someone knocked on Zara's office door. It was a woman in her late 50s. Quiet, nervous. "My name is Mrs. Caldwell," she said. "Dale stopped me 4 years ago. I was walking to church." Zara invited her in. She shared everything. No one had ever listened to her before. Zara took her hand and said, "You matter now. You always did, she added Mrs. Caldwell to the witness. The day of the trial, the courthouse was packed. News cameras, crowds outside, even school groups came to watch. Zara walked in with her team, head high, calm and focused. Officer Dale sat on the other side, pale, eyes down. The judge looked serious. This wasn't just about law, this was about right and wrong. The opening words, Zara's lawyer stood and said, "This is not just about a parking lot. This is about a pattern, a system." A silence that lasted too long. Then Dale's lawyer spoke. Officer Dale made a simple mistake. He didn't hurt her. This is all blown out of proportion. But the crowd didn't agree, and neither did the judge. Evidence revealed. The courtroom watched as Zara's team showed video of Dale laughing at her ID, past complaints from victims, footage from other stops he made with the same behavior, the internal documents that were hidden for years. People in the room gasped. Some covered their mouths, others shook their heads. Zara speaks in court then. Zara took the stand. She looked at the jury, at the judge, at Dale. "I stayed calm in that parking lot, not because I wasn't angry, but because I've had practice. We've all had practice. Every black woman in America. What you saw in that video was not new. It was just finally recorded. He judged me in 5 seconds. But now I've spoken for every second after that." Her voice didn't break, but the room did. The courtroom was silent. Everyone was waiting, holding their breath. The judge looked serious. The jury sat straight. The cameras were rolling live across the country. This wasn't just a trial anymore, it had become a movement. A special day today was different. Zara's team had asked the judge to allow one final piece of evidence, never shown before. The judge agreed. The media was buzzing. Everyone was wondering, what is she going to show? Even Officer Dale looked nervous. He whispered to his lawyer, "What are they about to do?" Dale's turn to speak, but first. The court allowed Officer Dale to testify. He walked to the stand. He wore a suit. His hands were shaking slightly. He began, "I never meant to hurt her. I was just doing my job." The room stayed quiet. He continued, "I didn't know who she was. I didn't think it would matter so much." Zara watched him, no emotion on her face. The lawyer asked, "Would you do it the same way again?" Dale looked down. Long pause. "No, I wouldn't." The hidden footage then. It was Zara's turn. Her lawyer stood and said, "Your Honor, we now present a never-before-seen video. It is Officer Dale's body cam footage fully restored. The lights dimmed. The screen lit up. The video that changed everything. The footage began. It showed the moment Officer Dale first spotted Zara in the parking lot, but now, with clear sound and no edits. His voice was caught saying, "Black woman. Probably another one trying to break into a car." The courtroom gasped. People turned their heads. More lines followed. "Let's see what her attitude's like. I've seen too many of them play smart." And then, the laughter after he checked her ID. "Harvard, it's rich." The court reacts. The judge looked stunned. The jury shifted in their seats. Zara sat quietly. Her eyes stayed on the screen. The moment ended with her voice, strong and clear. "You just made the biggest mistake of your career." The screen went black. Silence. The judge speaks. The judge took off his glasses. He looked around the courtroom. "This is no longer about a misunderstanding. This is about bias, abuse of power, and public humiliation, and it is unacceptable." He looked at Dale. "You were trusted to protect, but instead, you profiled, mocked, and judged." The room felt heavy. Zara's final words. The judge allowed Zara one final statement. She stood slowly, walked to the center, and spoke. "People ask me why I didn't yell that day, why I didn't fight back. The truth is, we're tired. Tired of being judged before we speak. Tired of being calm so others feel safe. Tired of proving we belong. This trial is not just about me. It's about every silent voice finally being heard." A tear rolled down the cheek of a young woman in the crowd. Another stood up, quietly clapping. Then another. And another. News breaks outside by the time court ended that day. Every major news channel aired the footage. Celebrities tweeted. Support civil rights leaders called it a turning point. The public was no longer silent. The city was no longer blind. Dale walks out. Alone. Officer Dale walked out the back of the courthouse. No cameras. No friends. No badge. He sat on a bench near the parking lot, the same kind of place where it all started, for the first time in years. He thought about what it really meant to serve and protect, and how badly he had failed. Suspense ending. That evening, Zara sat by her window. The city lights glowed outside. Her assistant entered the room with a small box. "This came in the mail? No name." Zara opened it. Inside was a note. It read, "Thank you for fighting, for all of us. You don't know me, but I'm a mother of 2. Because of you, I believe they'll grow up safer." Zara smiled gently. She folded the letter and said, "It's working. One truth at a time." 3 days had passed since the courtroom shook with the truth. The video was still trending. Zara's name was still everywhere. The city was still talking. But now, people wanted to know what happens next. Not to Zara, but to Officer Dale. Dale reaches out. Zara sat in her office, looking out the window. Her assistant walked in with a message. "It's strange," she said. "Officer Dale's lawyer called. He wants to meet you, in private." Zara turned slowly. "Why?" He didn't say, just that it's not for court. He says it's personal. Zara paused, then nodded. Tell him, I'll meet him. 1 hour. Public library. No cameras. The unexpected meeting. Zara arrived first. She chose a quiet corner in the reading room, no noise, no phones. Then she saw him. Officer Dale? No uniform, just plain clothes. His face looked older now, tired, changed. He sat down across from her for a moment. Silence. The apology. Dale looked at her. His voice was low. Honest? I didn't come here to argue. I came here because I don't know who I am anymore. Zara listened. You didn't just embarrass me, she said calmly. You judged every woman who looks like me. Dale nodded slowly. I thought I was fair. I thought I was doing my job. But after that video, I watched myself and I hated what I saw. He looked down. I'm sorry, not because I got caught, but because I finally understand. Zara's response. Zara didn't speak for a moment. Then she said, you still have power, Dale, but now it's not in your badge. It's in what you do next. Dale looked confused. What can I do? Everyone hates me. Zara leaned forward. Use your voice. Speak to the officers who still think like you used to. Show them what truth looks like before the world forces it out of them. A difficult offer. Zara reached into her bag. She slid a small folder across the table. Inside is a name, a nonprofit training program for They teach community awareness. Real accountability. Dale stared at it. You're offering me help? No, Zara said. I'm offering you a chance. What you do with it is up to you. Dale walks away. As he walked out of the library, folder in hand. Dale stopped for a moment. He looked back at Zara. You could have destroyed me. You destroyed your own name, she replied. I just made sure the truth survived it. Dale nodded, and left, into a new chapter of his life. One of silence, or change. Public still waiting outside. In the real world, the public still debated, should Dale go to jail? Should he be forgiven? Can a man like that really change? Everyone had a different opinion, but Zara, she didn't speak again. Not yet. She was waiting. A surprise video 2 days later. A video appeared on YouTube. It was simple. One camera. No editing. It was Officer Dale. He sat in a chair looking directly at the camera. My name is Mark Dale. I was a police officer. I misused that power, he continued. I judged a woman because of her color. I thought I was above her. I was wrong. Zara Thomas showed me that truth doesn't scream. It just stands. And I couldn't break it. People react. The video shocked everyone. Some called it fake. Some called it brave. Some just cried. Zara watched it alone. She didn't smile. She didn't clap. She just closed her laptop quietly and said, he chose the right road. Now let's see if he walks it. The courthouse was full again. Same room, same faces. But this time, something felt different. This time, everyone was waiting for the final decision. The judge walked in. No cameras were allowed during the ruling. But outside, a sea of people stood with signs, holding their breath. The judges ruling the courtroom stood quiet as the judge spoke. This case was never just about law. It was about truth. It was about dignity, and how quickly it can be taken or protected. He turned to Officer Dale. You used your position not to protect, but to profile. You failed not only one woman, but many. Then he turned to Zara. You stood with strength when others would have screamed, and in doing so, you changed everything. The room held its breath. The verdict. The judge finally declared. Officer Dale was found guilty of misconduct and racial profiling. He would lose all retirement benefits. He would be banned from working in any law enforcement role. Again, the city must pay a public settlement, and the police department must begin mandatory anti-bias training designed with Zara's team. The courtroom clapped. Some even cried. It was more than a win. It was a shift. Dale's reaction. Dale stood silent. He didn't argue. He didn't cry. He just nodded. Slowly he turned to Zara, and for the first time he said, you gave me a chance to be better. I'll spend the rest of my life earning it. Zara looked at him. No hate, no smile, just peace. Make it count, she replied softly. The world watches. The news spread fast. Officer punished. Department reforms thanks to one woman's calm stance. Social media exploded. She didn't raise her voice. She raised a standard. Zara Thomas is a name history will remember. This is what quiet power looks like. The department changes within weeks. The police department began to change. Zara was invited to join the community oversight board. She accepted, not because she trusted them, but because change doesn't happen outside the room. It happens inside, where the rules are written. Zara's next step. She started a new organization called Still Standing, focused on helping victims of profiling, teaching young people about their rights, training officers on how to unlearn bias. Her first event was sold out. People lined up just to hear her speak.